Good evening. Here we are back on a Monday. The first round of the NFL playoffs have been completed. And let me tell you, it was, a really fun weekend of football and, a lot of good games and a lot of games that I thought went exactly how they were supposed to go. Today we're going to talk about those three games that took place Saturday. And then tomorrow we're going to be back talking about the three games that took place last night. So are you ready to get your fix? Well, let's get started with the Indianapolis Colts versus the Buffalo Bills. Now, last week, I said this game wouldn't be as close as we think it's going to be. Okay, and I had the Bills winning this one 38-24. Well, this game was actually a really tough-fought game, and you could tell the Colts were ready to play unlike the last six opponents the Bills have played. Okay, Phillip Rivers played a really good game and probably, one of the best games he's had this entire season. The Bills did what they've done the entire season in terms of performance. But like I said, the Colts were just ready to play. The only reason the Colts made this a game was because of their tight ends. Okay, Jack Doyle had 7 catches on 9 targets with 70 yards and a touchdown. Okay, Trey Burton had 3 catches on 3 targets for 34 yards. Okay, and then in the third tight end, Mo Alley Cox had 4 catches on 4 targets with 32 yards. So, the Colts tight ends, they had 136 receiving yards out of the 309 that Phillip Rivers had. Okay, the Colts played pretty solid game, a really good solid game, actually. But like I said, it just wasn't enough, and the Bills got the win 27-24. Now, Colts may have got the win if they would have got the wide receivers going. Like I noted about T.Y. Hilton, the man has not looked the same since Andrew Luck's left. And honestly, I don't see him, performing any better than what he has been. He may be capable of doing so, but he's going to have to go to a different system and something else for that to work. So next, we got the Los Angeles Rams, who took on the Seattle Seahawks. Well, the Rams came out and showed us just how dominant that defense is. Now, they didn't really slow the wide receivers or running backs down that much, just looking at the stats, but when you watched that game, okay, those defensive backs were all over DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, making it really tough on Russell Wilson, to get them the ball. And when he did get them the ball, it was a good pass. It had to be a good pass because, Jalen Ramsey and that rookie safety Jordan Fuller, those guys were on point. They knew what to do and they knew how to stop Seattle, okay? The Rams did exactly what they needed to do to win this game, which was make Russell Wilson uncomfortable and make him make split-second decisions, because when he does that, more than likely he's going to have more mistakes throwing the ball, okay? Get him uncomfortable, and that's what the Rams did. They got him moving outside the pocket. They held him to really nothing. Like, Russell didn't have that great of a game, okay? He went 11 for 27 with 174 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked 5 times. Okay, running the ball, he only had 50 yards on 4 rushing attempts. Okay, I'm telling you right now, nobody is going to win a game when the starting quarterback can only complete 11 passes unless the running backs are having a ridiculous game. Then you might have a chance. I say that because if you look at the San Francisco 49ers last year in the playoffs, I think Jimmy Garoppolo only completed, 11 passes in 2 or 3 games or something crazy, but they were still winning because of their running backs, because somebody else was giving them that performance. They would have lost, and they actually did lose to the Chiefs when they started to sling the ball, and he couldn't get completions, and he couldn't do that, and then the Chiefs won. So, 11 completions, it's almost laughable for Russell Wilson at least. Okay, this is Russell Wilson, who has made the playoffs 8 of the past 9 seasons. Okay, Russell is someone who we expect to come into the playoffs and at least get 1 win. Okay, at least 1 win. I know it's been a rocky road for them lately. They got a Super Bowl win, but 11 completions against a division rival. You should have beat them. You were obviously the better team. Offensively, defensively, not so much. But hey, like everybody says, defense wins championships. And Saturday, we got to witness the Rams come out of their shell and show us what they are capable of when their defense is playing top-notch football and their offense is moving the ball enough downfield to put points on the board. This was a huge victory for the Rams, and they kept their season alive for at least 1 more week, where now they have to go to Lambeau to take on the Green Bay Packers. Okay, Seattle just couldn't get the job done and lost to the Rams 30-20. So finally, let's talk about that Saturday night game between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Washington football team. Now, last week, I said this game was going to be a close one in the first half, and then the Buccaneers would take off in that second half, making this game not so close, taking the victory. Well, actually, this game was the opposite of that. In the first half, it looked like the Buccaneers were just kind of going to walk away with the victory with this one with ease. I think it was 18-7 at half, or 18-6, something like that. But then in the second half, we actually had a game, on our hands with Washington's defense playing some of the best defense they've played all season, and giving their offense a chance to sneak back into the game. That Washington defense is really, really good, and we witnessed that, Saturday night. It was like a flip switch. Like, they knew they weren't stopping him enough in the first half, and they were having troubles. Then they come out in the second half, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this team, if they played like that the whole game, I guarantee you Washington moves on to the divisional round. I guarantee you. Like, Tampa Bay is a very beatable team, when the opposing defense is playing at a high level. And we've seen that with Washington. That second half, all Washington. I mean, it was about 60-40 or 70-30. Washington was the one having the more control of that second half. But, Brady, he just did what he does best in the playoffs and made things happen. He wins games in playoffs. He's first in passing yards, passing touchdowns, completion percentage, all that in the playoffs, and there's a reason for that. Washington should have beat these guys. I mean, they only lost, I think, was by 8. So, I mean, Tom in the playoffs is a completely different player than that from the regular season. He's just so much more aware and on point where it's like his life's on the line. So now I'd like to say that, Tyler Heineke, whatever, played an amazing game regardless of the loss, When I found out Alex Smith wouldn't be playing and Taylor was going to take the snaps, my first thoughts were, this should be an easy one for Tom. However, though, Taylor played like he's been in the league for 12 years, He went 26 for 44, 306 passing yards, 1 touchdown and interception. And then he also ran the ball 6 times for 46 yards and a touchdown as well. For a guy who's only played in one game this season, and I believe it was only a couple snaps, 5, I want to say, a handful of snaps, not counting this playoff game, this stat line is really impressive. Taylor did Washington well in this game. He showed them he has heart, and he showed them that he can play. People forget that this guy was actually a backup in the XFL to Jordan Ta'amu. So, I mean, he gave Washington hope that if they find a quarterback who is capable of throwing for 250 to 300 yards, they have a better chance of winning games. And after this game, I honestly think Washington might just bring Tyler back next season as a backup because he can obviously play. He showed it, and he can perform. And the real question is, can he do it consistently? And that's why I say he's going to be a backup, because you don't know if he's going to be consistent. So he's going to be that backup if they find that solid starter. I don't see them letting him go just because he did what he had to. And if that were my guy, if that was on my team, honestly, I'd probably go give him a hug regardless of COVID and be like, wow, where did this come from? Because it's crazy what he did out there. This is a really fun game to watch as Washington was in it until the very end, and had a chance to win this, but just couldn't get the job done. They lost to the Buccaneers 31-23. And I think a lot of that's due to the defensive line of Washington and Tyler Heineke keeping Washington in the game and giving them a chance to win a playoff game. So we'll end on that. So that's going to end, like I said, our discussion today. As tonight we got some college football, the national championship game between Ohio State and Alabama. It should be good. Don't really know what to expect here. I hope it's not a blowout, but we'll see what happens. So anyways, thanks for stopping by. Hey, we're going to see you tomorrow, like I said, to talk about those games from Sunday, and then we'll be back pretty much the rest of the week. So thanks for stopping by, and you just got your fix with the Wicks.